Hello, hello, everyone. My name is Lee Rondon Davis. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the leader of artistic curation and marketing here at Crowded Fire. Welcome to the first night of our solo performance showcase. We're so excited for y'all to check out this amazing work tonight. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that I am zooming in from Huichin, which is the unceded land of the Lishan Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, who are strongly present on their land, which is unceded and which we have colonized and settled as Oakland. Our offices and our performances happen on the land of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. To support the indigenous communities that still exist on this land, please, we invite you to check out the Segura Te Land Trust over in the East Bay. And if you're in San Francisco or the Peninsula, you can check out the Ramaytush Ohlone and support their Unikent land tax. I'll drop those in the chat in just a moment. And thank you all so much for being here. We're super excited. It's been a long time since we've done a live stream, and now we're on two new platforms, Facebook and YouTube, which is super exciting. And we are doing all things solo performance for 2 nights this week, which is really exciting. We just concluded our solo performance intensive a couple weeks ago. And this is a part of Crowded Fire's larger initiatives program, which is to support local artists and their craft in many, many ways. So we offer an audition intensive. You'll hear more about the solo performance intensive. We have the Ignite Fund for designers and technicians happening now. It's a huge grant to support you and your craft. We have our Resilience and Development Playwriting Lab. We have mentorships and internships. So all of that is to support local artists and leaders in the Bay Area. And so we hope that you check those out. To speak a little bit more about the audition and solo intensive, specifically the solo intensive, I'm thrilled to pass it over to Dawn Monique Williams and M. Graham Smith, the amazing stewards of our intensives for many, many years. Welcome, Graham and Dawn.
Thank you, Lee, so much. Hey, Graham. Graham, you're still muted.
Thank you so much. Hey, Dawn, how's it going?
Good. That's us in class, too. Like, Graham, what are you doing?
That's the way we roll. Hey, I'm M. Graham Smith. I'm so happy to be sharing this platform with Dawn tonight and all of these incredible solo performers. And maybe we should talk a little bit about kind of why solo performance for us, Dawn, and our own trajectories with solo performance.
Absolutely. As Lee said, I'm Dominique Williams. I, like Lee, am in Huichin, the home of Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone folk. So most people, I think, Graham, probably know both you and I as directors. And before I was ever a director, I was a performance poet. So that's how I got my start in what we might call solo work. So while I do not continue to perform solo pieces, I think of myself very much as a generative artist. And so I was compelled to join you on this endeavor because we share that strong belief that actors are generative artists.
For my own kind of solo journey, I trained at the Del Arte School of International Theater, where we did a lot of solo performance. And then as I started my career as a director, I was doing less and less performing. And then one day, an actor came to me and said, "Would you help me develop a solo show?" And it was such a fulfilling, amazing experience. That actor, Kevin, will be on Thursday night's broadcast to talk about that work. But I've been doing a lot of work with actors who are interested in developing material into solo performance, and I find it so meaningful because it does straddle that sweet spot for me between generative work and helping an actor interpret text once that text is established. So maybe we can talk a little bit about why we got so passionate about teaching this workshop. We've alluded to this idea that it's really wonderful when we understand that actors are creators and not just interpreters. But I also feel like there's so much gatekeeping in our theater ecosystem that solo work is a great way to bypass that. We don't need a theater to tell us that we can make something. We can just go make it.
Exactly that. And I'm a performance scholar, and so many of our great actors Whoopi Goldberg, Dale Orlando Smith, Anna Devere Smith. Like these are writers who were sort of struggling to find inroads to get cast, and so they decided to develop their own work. Um, and so that is a tool that I think all actors, especially actors of marginalized identities, have available to them to leverage.
And of course, now, at this moment, we're all kind of moving through a moment where theater is really kind of fallen on some economic hard times. We see so many of our theaters struggling. And the great thing about solo work is that it doesn't cost that much money to, to create something that is a viable and wonderful kind of theater at its most essential form. You don't need $1 million set. You don't need a waterfall. You don't need some chandelier crashing onto the stage. You just need an amazing performer and a story to tell and an audience to listen.
And in all its multitudes, the possibilities are almost endless, right? Like the work can be autobiographical, it can be verbatim theater, it can be text-based or not. We discovered with the participants that it can look a lot like stand-up. It maybe can be stand-up, or it can feel like a editorial. Research, interviews, it can be like an ethnography. So there's so many directions that the generation of solo work can take. And I think we're going to tap into some of that tonight.
Yeah, the participants in the lab had also a wide range of this, and we're going to see a lot of examples of their work tonight. And so, just to give people a little bit of a preview of coming attractions, we're going to show a few clips that are like 5-minute nuggets from these participants. And then we're going to chat with three amazing established solo artists whose work has been seen around the US and internationally. And we're going to ask them about what drew them to solo performance, how they make work, and what they're creating next.
Yeah, and then we'll wrap up with three more pieces of participants from the lab, and then we'll tee up for the broadcast on Thursday, which will be completely new set of participants, like you said. That's our evening.
Great. So, are these first two clips? These are 5-minute clips from our solo performance lab. The first one you'll see is from Lena Sibony, and the second one's from Audrey Schultz. Let's roll those clips.
When I was 16, I auditioned for the role of Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. I know, but I really wanted the role. I was brash and rebellious, and I knew that if given the chance, my take on tradition, as untraditional as it would be, should be a challenge worth taking on. A woman should be playing that role. I should be playing that role. I had for it, and I didn't get it. They offered me the role of Yenta. How was I supposed to change the world with Yenta? High school was almost over, and my time was running out. As you might already be able to guess, I spent the majority of my childhood performing in musicals. Despite my short stature and range of acting ability, I was cast over and over again as the old lady, the villain, the mother. I was mature. A word thrown about incessantly when I was growing up. You are so good at talking with adults. You just have this mature sense about you, you know. You would make a killer Mama Rose. Who says that to an 11-year-old? I wore it as a badge of honor. I could toe the line in relationships with my teachers, my friends, other adults in my life. I was a hell of a 12-year-old dinner party guest, and you know what? I felt mature. I was the most eloquent 13-year-old. I knew what I wanted, and that year, it was the lead in the summer camp musical. Better yet, an age-appropriate role, and I got it. In the first week of rehearsals, the director molested me. And time stopped. And I didn't feel mature. I felt like a child. A scared, overwhelmed small child. What should have been joyful was now laced with fear. I spent the rehearsals not knowing if something would happen again, taunted by this man, dysregulated by his now emotional outbursts towards me. You just weren't on in rehearsal, Lena. It's like you were on another planet. Why can't you just do better? Forced maturity so young made me angry. I was an angry kid. A slamming doors, yelling, screaming, throwing things I most definitely should not have been throwing. Angry kid, it seemed to just burst out of me in a chaotic fire. Memories of my small body radiating with indignancy, sitting smugly on the steps of my house, knowing that if I didn't move, we couldn't go anywhere. As I got older, the fear of showing my anger morphed into an ever-present panic that I didn't know what to do with. So I dutifully continued to play the adults. I let myself believe that I was letting my pain go, dramatically disperse on stage while I sang, "What Would You Do?" the old landlady song from Cabaret. The summer after my failed attempt at fiddler, I met my fairy godmother, theater mentor, Eva Marie. Tough as nails with a heart of gold, and she saw me completely and utterly, saw me as an artist, as a person, and for the first time, the panic lessened. Lena, you are the whole package, and you've got time. So I take my time. And 7 years later, through a series of fortunate events, I was cast as the lead in a new musical the week rehearsals started. Chaotic, fast, but an age-appropriate role. I dived in head first. Dance rehearsals, music rehearsals. I didn't take a moment to breathe. I felt the panic rise again, but I was too busy working, rehearsing, sleeping, eating, dreaming, working, rehearsing, sleeping, working, rehearsing. I get a call that Eva Marie is sick in a hospital across the country, and I am working, rehearsing, not eating, not sleeping, not breathing. She died on the day we worked on our big intimacy scene for the show. As we gently touched each other in that black box theater, I wondered if my scene partner could feel the grief radiating off of me. There is no time to take. I carried on and the panic set back in. I spent opening night rationalizing to myself that if I could just get through the next scene, I could run off stage any moment. I wasn't actively saying something. My heart was beating out of my chest. I spent intermission hunched over, forcing myself to breathe. We got a rave review in the SF Chronicle, and I cried alone in my room, relieved and devastated that no one could see how pain and fear had overtaken my body. I got through the run of the show working, not eating, not sleeping, barely breathing. And this time I didn't move on. I stayed stuck, lost in the grief of losing Eva Marie, lost in the grief of the thing I love most, being on stage, filling me with dread. I was 13 again, 16 again, but with no youthful rebellion to push me forward, no tradition to fall back on. When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were small?
To clear up comments I saw on Twitter, and to be the bright bastion of light for men in these dark, trying times. There is nothing women can do better than a man. And that's the truth. Now, I'm going to need the women in the comments to take a really deep breath, because I know it can be really hard for you not to be overwhelmed by your emotions. Teaching, I hear you cry out in the comments. Most teachers are women nowadays. Yeah, because all the men left their teaching jobs to pursue bigger callings, like stocks, important things. Nursing only happened because men left to go fight in wars. Don't get me started on acting. Women weren't even trusted to play women roles when theater became a thing. And when they were, it was done by the whores and sluts, the really inspirational kind of people. Women only think they can do these things because men left them for them to pick up the scraps. And your jobs are scraps. Ever notice how a job becomes undesirable after women make up most of its workforce? It's because you taint them. Nobody wants a male nurse and be labeled effeminate, and for good reason. He should strive for something greater. Men are doctors, they're not nurses. The only thing women can do that a man can't is give birth. And our biological design dictates that that is the only desire we should have. So, newsflash, all you whiny women out there, it's okay, you don't need to use your brain. You can get a lobotomy, and you can still fulfill your big purpose of being the fleshlight of your poor, poor husband's dreams. Sorry, did I make you mad? Well, that's okay, because that's my point. Your anger means nothing because it's true. Women are stupid. I like men. I love men. I think they're the greatest. They actually get things done. Like my dad. He's a plumber, and he does really good, hard work for his community. And me and him agree that women are the worst. It comes up with my mom a lot. You see, she's a nagger, and God knows there is nothing worse than a nagging woman. She cries a lot, overdramatic as she is. So my dad would always say, he would say it in a funnier way though, if you want something done, do it yourself, bitch. I'm off the clock. That's what he would always say when I was in the room. And my mom always nagged me too, so I agreed with him. We would always get so annoyed when she would cry, her crocodile tears like weak women like to do, and say, I feel like I'm never being listened to in this house. Yeah, we know, because we're ignoring you. My dad says he's grateful that at least one woman in the house doesn't make him want to tear his ears off. And I think that's a huge honor, because I personally can't wait to prove him right when I grow up to be a great wife and mother after witnessing all of my mother's shitty work. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm not the problem. God, I'm just telling the truth. You're the problem. See, my interests are actually respectable. Oh, you over there, you like ballet? Oh, how's that attention-seeking attitude working out for you? Oh, and you're the sporty type. Well, hate to tell you, people don't watch you because they actually think you can achieve anything special, because the best male athlete will always perform better than the best female athlete. They tune in so they can stare and jack off to your body.
All right.
Yeah, let's give it up. This Zoom thing is still a hard, so let's show some love in the chat. Our participants are watching, they're standing by. So feel free to participate in the chat if you want to show some love, drop some emojis and things of that nature, just to let them know that you're with us.
And now we're going to turn from our presentation of those little nuggets of work that are coming out of our lab for our 30-minute conversation with our esteemed panelists about the state of the art of solo performance. So really quickly, I'm going to introduce our first panelist. Madeline Sayet is an award-winning director, playwright, and performer. Sayet's accolades as a theater maker include being named a Forbes 30 Under 30 in Hollywood and Entertainment, a TED Fellow, a MIT Media Lab Directors Fellow, NCAIED Native American 40 Under 40, a recipient of the White House Champion of Change Award from President Obama, and many other honors. Her solo play, Where Do We Belong, has toured the U.S. and abroad.
And Lisa Volpe, in addition to being one of my personal heroes and a titan of the theater, is an international activist working for the empowerment of women and diversity on the stage. She was the producing artistic director of the all-female multicultural Los Angeles Women's Shakespeare Company from 1993 to 2016. And two of her many honors include the LA Drama Critics Award for Sustained Excellence and the Sidney Berger Award for Excellence from the Shakespeare Theater Association. Her play, Shakespeare and the Alchemy of Gender, experienced a long run at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival just this spring. And since then, she's already performed it in a handful of other places with more dates quickly approaching.
And our third panelist is Saida Trujillo, an actress, theater maker, educator specializing in voice and movement, as well as devising original physical theater performances. Identity and storytelling inspire her personal work, as well as collective work with actors and non-actors. Her 3 solo shows, Banana Leaves, Definitely Oops, and I Was Raised Mexican, have been presented nationally and internationally at theater houses including La Mama, etc., Red Cat, and NYTW.
And just before we bring these incredible artists to the stage, we're going to give you a very brief amuse boost of their work by showing some quick clips of some of their selected pieces.
We must all stand in love for the tribe. That is the only way we will survive. But what if we don't? What if in my lifetime we all just fade away? Then you will have to explain that to your ancestors when you face them. My name is Achukais. I'm a Mohegan. Most people don't like talking about colonialism as much as they like talking about Shakespeare. Today's story isn't about Shakespeare, though. Today's story is how I became a bird. I need a fresh start. Somewhere I'm not hated for being me. The settlers killed something in our souls when they took our language. I look at my wings, wondering if they'll ever work, wondering if they even know what they are. Can someone tell me where I'm going?
They don't care about balance, stability, community, peace. They care about women.
I've been trying to remember a story. A long time ago, our ancestors told it to us. I think it has to do with where we belong. In the sky, one world might be clear. The closer you get to something, it's always more complicated on the ground.
Ground your feet. Sabit uligliku.
What a piece of work is a man. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable in action, how like an angel in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. Oh, Hamlet. He wasn't always so sad. But there is something rotten in the state of Denmark. Hamlet is in a profound state of interchange. Old school revenge tragedies are open and shut cases. Hamlet is looking for a third option. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind.
Oh my goodness, friends. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. So much gratitude to each of you for agreeing to participate in this panel tonight. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to come to each of you in turn. I know you all come from different performance backgrounds, training, histories. I would love to learn what led you to solo work. And I'm going to go in the order that we showed the clips. So I'm going to come to you first, Maddie.
Okay. Uh, I guess first of all, Chanatiwisa Chokais. Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a citizen of the Mohegan tribe in Connecticut. And the moment I came to solo work, it actually came out of a moment of having been really interested in oral tradition. I didn't necessarily think that I was going to start performing solo work. I think that the way of processing the story, though, I had seen some instances recently. I had actually seen Lisa's play recently at that time. I had seen some traditional storytellers sharing stories as well. And I was just thinking about what does it mean to sort of, in this way that's been done for thousands and thousands of years since the beginning of time, to share certain things together in a moment in community that need to be said, and how by doing so in community, you know, you and the community put these stories together in unique ways that then become a thing that is it feels very of the moment in a very specific way. And so when I originally wrote my solo piece, Where We Belong, I was sort of investigating that and what that meant, to sort of share moments from my story, moments from ancestor stories, in this sort of traditional storytelling framework. And then I think I sort of accidentally came to solo work as a medium by realizing what that sort of reciprocal relationship is with the community over time after that. So I think now